air with breaking news from a story the investigative team has been following very closely.
A South Central nurse practitioner convicted of illegally prescribing opioids without a medical purpose was sentenced to 3 years in prison today. 58-year-old Chris Kyle prescribed powerful drugs like fentanyl and oxycodone to patients who messaged her on social media asking for early refills. Judge Catherine Easter called Kyle, quote, steadfastly unrepentant during today's sentencing.
And a jury convicted her on 12 of 13 drug-related counts in June. The Alaska Board of Nursing has revoked her licenses. Kyle will serve 3 years in prison, followed by 4 years of probation. Kyle was previously charged with connection with a 2015 overdose death of a 22-year-old Courtney Jones. But those homicide charges were dismissed after police destroyed key evidence. The investigative team's complete coverage live right now on our website and mobile app.
Yes. Now to an Alaska's news source exclusive, Senator Lisa Murkowski in our studios right after the government reopens.
Now, she spoke with our political reporter, Will Courtney, and one of the main topics that they talked about was the senator was talking about Halong and the recovery efforts.
Right. And Senator Murkowski largely praised the state's response over the impacts of the former typhoon Halong. And near the end of our conversation we had today, I asked about the plan for the future of those villages. Let's take a listen.
Who is ultimately going to be in charge of the future of villages like Kipnuk and Quig?
Well, I believe it's the people who live there who are in charge of their future. But I also recognize that you cannot do much of what they need as a community without the participation of the state and of the federal government. And so we've got to be partners in this. We've got to be collaborators in this.
Are we at a point right now where that's happening? Because, you know, the state and federal government right now are saying the future is here. Mm-hmm. The people, some people anyways, are saying that my future is not here, that my future is elsewhere.
I think there is more that needs to happen, but I think you are really seeing the very beginning of it.
To my full conversation with Senator Lisa Murkowski on our latest episode of Alaska's Political Pipeline. That's available on our website, mobile app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you so much.
All right, Will, thank you so much for your reporting on that. And transitioning now, Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan has rejected a $500,000 lawsuit provision over January 6th phone records. The controversial provision was included in the bill that ended the government shutdown.
Now, it currently allows 8 Republican senators, including Sullivan, to seek damages over records accessed during the January 6th investigation. House Speaker Mike Johnson says that he was shocked to learn about the provision and will vote to repeal it next week. Sullivan's spokesperson tells Alaska's news source he will not pursue the lawsuit and supports House efforts to repeal the provision.
All right, we'll continue to follow that story. And now as we head into the weekend, some parts of Alaska could be in store for some changes.
Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry joins us now, tracking what we can expect.
Yeah, we actually have a series of storms lining up across the western Aleutians headed our direction that will bring wind, snow, rain, freezing rain, all the above to the southwest corner of the state. And you can see those storms lining up back to back. The first two rather insignificant. We will see some rain from that, but it is that third storm that we're watching closely as those impacts will be significant for the YK Delta region all the way down into the Aleutians, including the Alaska Peninsula and Bristol Bay. So be prepared for stormy conditions over the weekend, especially heading into Sunday. We're talking strong southeast winds and snow for many areas. Temperatures right now, though, are warm across the Bering Sea. We're talking upper 30s, even mid 40s right now out at Adak, where we are seeing that heavy rain and those winds beginning to ramp up. Much colder as you head further inland and further north. 6 below right now in Fairbanks, 1 below in Dead Horse. Temperatures holding in the 20s in Anchorage. We do have dry weather for much of the state. 6 below currently, again, as I mentioned there in Fairbanks, and overnight tonight we'll see those temperatures returning to the mid-teens in Anchorage. I'll have a closer look at that extended forecast coming up next.
All right, Melissa, thanks so much. And the final defendant in the Thunderbird Falls homicide was sentenced today.
Now that decision ends a nearly 6-year trial.
For murder in the second degree, I'm sentencing Mr. McIntosh to a period of incarceration of 85 years with 15 suspended.
And that's Judge Andrew Peterson sentencing now 22-year-old Caden McIntosh. She was convicted of shooting and killing 19-year-old Cynthia Hoffman in June of 2019 near Thunderbird Falls in what the state called a hire for murder scheme. He was 16 years old and homeless at the time of the murder.
I'm trying to take accountability for this. And I'm just thankful for the fact that it's a murder 2 charge, not a murder 1. And I hope you can forgive me. I know it won't work, but I'm sorry. That's kind of all I got.
According to the state, McIntosh's co-defendant, Denali Bremer, was catfished by a man named Darren Schillmiller, who said he would give her $9 million to commit murder and document it. Bremer recruited co-defendant Caleb Leland and McIntosh to assist her. McIntosh was promised $750,000 for his part in shooting Hoffman. The family telling us today this has been a long journey, and they're happy with this sentencing, keeping Hoffman's late father, Tim, in their thoughts.
Very big closure. And this is what Tim wanted, my brother Tim, which is Cynthia's father. He was looking for closure. I wish he could have been here with us. I'm pretty sure he's looking down on us with Cynthia, and they're okay with it.
Now, the Hoffman family said they are now focusing on moving forward with their lives while keeping Cynthia and her father at the center of their thoughts. They are in discussions about having another victim for justice motorcycle ride next year.
New tonight, a $1 million murder warrant has been issued for a man wanted for allegedly murdering a 15-year-old at a Fairbanks party last month. Now, state troopers are still looking for 18-year-old Darius Morgan. He is from North Pole. They say that he's likely armed and dangerous. The crime happened October 25th. Witnesses say they saw Morgan with the black handgun that night. Court documents show that Morgan was convicted of second-degree murder last year and was not allowed to have a gun. Tonight, the investigative team examines new data showing state crime numbers are dropping. But those same statistics reveal children are the majority of sex crime victims in Alaska. One of the main lawmakers who oversees these issues says the numbers may be misleading. The question tonight, Rebecca, are reports down or is crime really down?
Yeah, it's a really hard question. I talked with Anchorage Senator Matt Clayman. He's the Senate Judiciary Chair, meaning that he's one of the main lawmakers who deal with these types of issues for the state judicial system. Now, we talked about data from the Alaska Criminal Justice Data Analysis Commission. They released their 2025 report that happened earlier this month. Now, that conversation, including this troubling pattern about 6 out of every 10 sex crimes target minors. That comes from the Department of Corrections data on the report. Meanwhile, the Department of Law received 428 sex offense referrals between July of 2023 and June of 2024. The data says that evidence problems caused prosecutors to decline more than half of the cases.
Rebecca, let's talk about the senator's position on this. He says the state, quote, has to do better, but what's his answer?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to do better, and it's difficult, of course, to figure that one out. The report, as you mentioned, shows a drop in the overall crime trends. And again, the report says that no conclusion should be drawn yet because many factors, including the definition of consent, have been changed so often over the past few years. We will continue to follow that. You can watch my full story right now on our website, mobile app, and tonight on the Late Edition. Well, the city of Anchorage is getting ready to open its first group of tiny houses for people who are experiencing homelessness.
That's right. Our Lauren Maxwell has an update on how this project is coming along.
You can see them at a construction site near Ship Creek, a row of tiny houses that sometime this winter
elevated bed, storage underneath,
will become someone's home.
We bought 1,500 watt heaters to put them in just to test it, and these things stay incredibly warm.
In the next few weeks, 32 12 by 8 foot tiny homes known as micro units will be transported from here to here, a city-owned piece of land near Elmore and Tudor, where people experiencing homelessness can live while recovering from addiction. The city wants residents to move in
as soon as possible. Our hope is within December, January, somewhere in there.
The city believes micro units could be a fast and effective way to house more people experiencing homelessness.
I think this is an option for any organization that has some spare space and some access to volunteers and maybe access to some indoor facilities, I mean, this is an option to consider.
So you guys are more than welcome to step inside.
Today's tour included church leaders and other organizations who have an interest in the project. And some said they might even have room.
I think it's a way to make it work. I'm really intrigued with being able to see how well they're built, and I like the fact that they are movable. They're transitional, so that's a selling point for us.
The city says they hope the idea of tiny houses will spread throughout Anchorage to bring more people in from the cold. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
And the city used about $1.2 million in money from an opioid settlement to pay for construction of the tiny home villages.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.